This is Rob with Horror Pop After Midnight. I'm here with the Barn director, Jeff Seaman, who did the first film and also the Barn 2 when we're here in good old Columbus, Ohio at Nightmares Film Fest. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So tell us about these comics you wrote as a kid that, made you do the Barn films.
Yeah, so I wrote these back in '93, and it actually took me about 20-some years, and then it turned into a movie, which I never thought I'd get a chance to do. But through the help of crowdfunding, it became a reality, and I just did the Ohio premiere of the Barn Part 2, which is based off of Zombie Railroad, which I did when I was 10. So that's crazy. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Let's talk about how you got Joe Bob Briggs. You were saying, he was part of the Barn 2, and you're also doing another film with him. Tell us about that film.
Yeah, so I met Joe Bob a few years back at I think it was Scarefest in Lexington, and I approached him about potentially being a role in a movie called Cryptids that we're working on. It's a horror anthology about a radio station with a DJ that hosts kind of like a coast-to-coast type show where the callers call in, and on this specific night, they're calling in with stories about cryptids. So I had been in talks with him right before the Shutter show took off, and then he got really famous again, since he had kind of cooled off for a while. And then during the pandemic, his calendar opened back up because all the conventions were canceled. The Shutter show kind of took a break because they weren't filming. And his agent reached out to me and said, Joe Bob's available now if you want to film that. The hard part is that nobody wanted to film because it was a pandemic. Nobody wanted to be in the same room, but they were willing to come together because they wanted to work with Joe Bob. Just because it was so tough to do and everything, we discussed Joe Bob. We said, hey, we're also in the middle of working on another movie called The Barn Part 2. Would you be willing to do Cryptids and The Barn Part 2 while you're here? And he said yes. So we were able to bring him into my sound stage that I have, and we shot Cryptids and The Barn Part 2 at the same time. And then Cryptids is slated to come out next year.
Now, talking about the Barn 2, the part with the Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout, and I'm an Eagle Scout, and when I was in Scouts, nothing crazy like that happened.
No, I'd hope not. No, I was also a Boy Scout as well, and I always thought that would be a fun thing to do, but not get murdered, obviously. But I wanted to do a scene like that in the first movie, but it just didn't fit in. And I knew in this film I wanted a fun way around the campfire to do an homage to Friday the 13th Part 2. For a lot of people who have never seen the first movie and are hesitant to check out a sequel, but easily tell them everything that happened in the first movie so that they can enjoy the rest of the movie. And I thought that Boy Scout opening would be the best way. And then obviously have fun with the Boy Scouts.
So did you ever, after you did the Barn 2, you did Barn 1 first, did you ever think it was going to be a cult following?
No, not at all. Like I had said in the interview, the Q&A we just did in there, I made the Barn 1 for me. It was kind of a passion project that just get it out of my system and then move on to other things. When it turned out to be this strange little cult following because it's a Halloween film, so I see it pop up on so many people's 31 Days of Halloween rotations. It kind of blew me away. I never expected anybody to really watch it outside of friends and family, honestly. So the fact that over 1,000 people funded the sequel to make it what it is incredible to me.
I think it is. It's so much fun. I mean, I love the Barn movies. I thought Barn 2 was great. And the cool thing I liked about it is I like the whole retro, like 80s, 90s vibe. It feels like, you just picked up a VHS tape and put in the VCR.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. I grew up in video stores as a kid. And I remember Friday night, it was a different vibe. It wasn't about what movie you picked. It was about the experience of going to the video store, and it's something I miss today that I wish I could experience with my kids. But those types of movies that I grew up on, which was Night of the Demons, Night of the Creeps, Return of the Living Dead, Slaughterhouse Rock, Rocktober Blood, Trick or Treat, those movies that I grew up watching was the kind of films that I wanted to make. Even the full moon, like the whole Full Moon catalog type films. So that's basically, if I tell people, I'm like, if you understand those films and you were fans of those kind of films, then you would appreciate The Barn, because that's what I was aiming to make.
I enjoyed it. There's another big horror film going around too. It's pretty messed up and gory. Have you seen Terrifier 2 yet?
I have not. I have been. This is my 17th screening in a row of The Barn. I've been home about 2 or 3 days per week. I've since the middle of August, and every theater that I have screened my movie at has not had Terrifier for me to watch it. So I'm gonna have to wait till Screenbox puts it up.
And then one more question about The Barn 2. The ending really had a twist. That really surprised me.
Yeah, I wanted to do something that wasn't the same as the first, and it's not often that you see the hero become the villain, and I felt if I have the opportunity to do a part 3 and round this out to be the trilogy and make a Barn 3D, which I would obviously love to make a 3D movie like Friday the 13th. I have some really cool ideas of where to take this with Sam and end the story. So, and if I don't, it's a great ending to part 2 and just leave it the way it is. But I would love to continue this and finish the story arc.
So where can everybody find you on social media so they know what you're doing next?
So you can follow, if you're looking for The Barn specifically, at The Barn Movie on Twitter, at The Barn, I think it's at The Barn Movie on Facebook. You could follow all my films and all the films I represent at Scream Team Releasing on Instagram, and you could just follow me on Facebook at Justin M Seaman.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.